That's our goal. We're gonna get our Keystone Lich mount, we're gonna get 3k, and we're gonna be awesome. We're gonna ready check. Everyone is ready. Countdown. We are pulling in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, one and all, to the theater of pain! It seems these upstarts think they can compete with the best combatants in all of Maldraxxus!
Again, we are pulling the ads off to the side. You always want to take these ads on the side. And the reason you always want to take these ads on the side is because, 1, it's easier to avoid the frontal. And 2, you bait all the poison off to the side so that you don't have to worry about it gathering up in the middle. Pulling the boss along the edge of the room. Don't forget that there is an ad mixed in with the boss. If you do choose to skip the first 3 ads, you do pull the 4th ad into the boss. And the 4th ad does have significantly less health than the boss, so he's going to die early. You don't have to worry about trying to even him out with the other bosses. He's not going to range them or buff them. Only the bosses give each other the 5% damage increase when they die. The ad does not increase their damage. You don't have to worry about that. Necrotic Bolt. You want to make sure you're interrupting Necrotic Bolt whenever you can. Because Necrotic Bolt sucks. Necrotic Bolt targets one random player with a bolt of damage, and you want to make sure that you are getting that interrupt every time you can. Careful with the green circles. You should spread out with the green circles. Again, it's a Necrotic Bolt. Make sure you're interrupting it. Careful with that frontal. Make sure you're interrupting Necrotic Bolt. So 2 of the ads are going to die right now. That's alright, because the 2 ads that died are not. They are the ones who do damage to the party. So right now we're only fighting this last guy, and this last guy, the main focus of this guy's damage is on the tank, with the exception of the frontals that he casts. So for the party, that last guy, everything is avoidable.
How unexpected! It seems our little pups have some fight.
We're not going to get a broken ad this time. We're going to be fine.
The preliminaries are over. The real trials can begin.
That totally sounds like an excuse, though. We're not going to die this time.
New challenges.
Too far away.
We'll see how long you can last.
Pulling in the ad. Okay. Looks like we're fine. We're gonna pull the axe guy. This guy's worse than the other guy, though. So, you want to be careful with this guy, because he has an AoE circle that he casts, and he also has circles that he throws on the ground. These circles that he throws on the ground, he picks random players with these circles and places the circles on them. From these circles spawn spinning swords. These spinning swords are a lot like the warrior sword that they put on the ground. They follow the party around slightly, so you want to make sure that you don't go into a corner. Make sure that you're backing into an open space and not into a corner. Be careful with the swords. So right now we did have one sword leading us, because you want to make sure that your whole party is kind of together. Don't try to leave the swords on the opposite side of the party, because then there's not really anywhere for your party to go.
It's too far away.
Again, you don't want to end up trapped, so be careful with which way you're backing up. 12% left on this ad, and then we're going into the next room. There is a short role play in the next room that
I'm
you
out of
can
range.
start.
I don't have a target.
So you can start the role play before you get there, and that way the ad is ready when you are ready to get here.
My blade will bathe in your blood!
The ad does not automatically pull when you start the role play, so you don't have to worry about that.
Scrabbling after any shred of control.
Careful of the bloodthirsty charge. You used to be able to line of sight the bloodthirsty charge. Now you don't have to because Alright, I've returned again. Don't know why they keep doing that, but they are back again. Alright, be careful with the bloodthirsty charge. Make sure that you are
I'm out of range.
stepping out of the bloodthirsty charge circle. Ricocheting blade. Careful with that ricocheting blade. Right, going into the next room. Actually, it's more like a hallway. Going into the next hallway. Nice, you see. Careful with the shield bash. You want to make sure you're if you're the tank, you want to make sure
All
you're
of
using
you.
defensives during the shield
Feed
bash.
on the void.
Shield bash is the
Let
tank
its
buster office pull, and the
fill you.
boss or the ad literally takes his shield and bashes you with it. So you want to make sure you're using defensive so you don't get one shot by the shield. Because that would be a silly way to go. You can use CCs on the shoot. You cannot use interrupts, but you can use CCs. So you want to make sure that you are utilizing your CCs and you're being careful not to get shot with everything. Pull the next guy.
Your bones will adorn my armor!
So this lady, just like the other guy, drops swords down. This lady's room is a lot smaller than the other guy's room, so what we do is we're going to utilize the hallway, and we are going to go out into the hallway where we don't have to worry about the swords trapping us. %, left on the boss. Seismic Stomp is an AoE damage. So when she casts Seismic Stomp and stomps down on the ground, that is her equivalent of the circle that the other boss casts. You want to make sure that you are using a defensive during the Seismic Stomp.
Scrabbling after any shred
Seismic
of
Stomp
control.
again. 20% left on the boss. Be careful with the 20% left on the boss. Wait.
It is too far away.
I should have bought more potions of Gus. Dang nabbit. What's the weirdest potion you guys keep in your bag? I think mine's the potions of Gus. Oh, no, it's the Noggenfogger Select Down. This potion actually shrinks you. So it slightly shrinks you, but if you
Not
drink
ready yet.
5 of them, it shrinks you significantly. So it can be a really small night elf.
Best make this interesting.
Potions of Gus, though, I do think are important to have in your bag, especially as a Dust Knight, just because they help you keep up with your party.
Attack totem.
Focus the oppressive banner.
Watch your step.
Can you match my strength?
Defending crash.
Far
Do
away.
not stand the defending crash. Remember that on this first phase, the boss is going to cast. The boss typically only casts the circle once. So after he's cast the circle, it's okay to run back to
Defensive.
him.
He knows no weakness.
Keep an eye out and make sure that he's not casting another circle, but most of the
Attack
time he
totem.
only casts one circle, so you don't really have to worry about it.
Feed on the void.
Focus down the banner.
Let its darkness fill you.
What the banner does is the banner slows your party.
Defensive.
Before the
You
storm.
want to make sure you kill this banner as quickly as possible.
Watch your step.
Can you match my strength?
Careful of that circle. cleave. Massive cleave again.
Attack totem. Defensive.
Knows no equal.
Banner. Focus down the banner.
Watch your step.
Can you match my strength?
Watch the frontal. Cleave. Be careful with the cleave. Make sure you're not standing inside of it. Defending crash. Defending crash. So the cleave slices the map in half. The crash puts a circle around him, and the
Attack totem.
other one that I always call frontal, it's not a frontal,
Defensive.
but the other one puts a straight line out of the boss. You want to make sure that you do not stand in any of the
Mortals,
mechanics from this boss,
after
because
any
all of the
shred
mechanics
of
from this boss do a
control.
lot of damage. Randomly during the boss fight,
Watch your
he's going to
step.
choose two random players and throw them down in the bottom. When you're down in the bottom, you'll duel each other to the death. Well, you don't actually die until somebody's defeated. So you have 45 seconds to decide on or to finish somebody off
Our challengers have passed
before getting sent back up. If neither of you can kill each other or decide on who dies before the timer is up, you'll both be sent up with a 10% damage reduction. If you can decide who dies and you kill one person and then you both go up, the guy who died, he's going to suffer the 10% damage reduction, and the other guy is going to gain 10% damage to make up for the other guy's 10% damage reduction. I would recommend taking turns on who dies. Like, if two guys were sent down at the same time twice, then maybe the first guy dies the first time and he uses all his cooldowns, and then the second time, the second guy dies so he can use all his cooldowns. Okay, be careful with the putrid butcher. During this pull, Withering Decay is going to be your Withering Discharge is going to be your primary interrupt. Withering Discharge is also one of the only interrupts.
Scrabbling after
But you want to
any
make sure you're
shred of
interrupting
control.
Withering Discharge every time, because Withering Discharge could potentially kill your party. Go on the next pull. During this pull here, we have two guys who can cast Withering Discharge. You can use CCs or interrupts on the Withering Discharge. You want to make sure that you do utilize your CCs and interrupts on the Withering Discharge during this pull.
I need to get closer.
Be careful with the Putrid Butcher. 35% left on the ad. So we're actually going to skip the ad in the next room because the ad in the next room is just time consuming. It's not super hard, but we don't need it for percent, and it does take a lot of time to kill. Also, I've seen a couple of parties wipe to it. So both the ads are walking towards us, which means we are kind of stuck. Yeah, I agree with that guy. So there is no harm in pulling that ad, it just takes forever to kill. So there's no point in killing it either. Skipping it. Pull the ad to the bottom of the stairs.
I'm out of range.
So during this pull, we are going to have one guy who casts Withering Discharge. You want to make sure you're interrupting that Withering Discharge.
Yes.
We are also going to have one guy who casts a shield,
All
the
of
Diseased
you.
Horror. You want to make
Feed
sure
on
that
the
you are
void.
interrupting the Diseased
Let
Horror's
its
shield every time it is
darkness
cast,
fill you.
because the Diseased Horror can end up with a shield as big as his own health bar. The last guy on that pull, the guy with the split in his gut, he is actually going to cast a Tank Buster. You want to make sure you're using a defensive after
Watch
he
your
casts his
step.
Tank Buster. Vile Eruption. So the Rancid Gas Bag shoots a Vile Eruption out both ends.
I need to
And
get closer. It is too far
you
away.
don't want to
Watch your
stand
step.
in the Vile Eruption because it can kill you. Make sure that you're interrupting the Blight Bag, the Blighted
I'm
Bludge
out of
Spewer.
range.
Watch your step.
Okay, you're fired. Make sure you're interrupting with her discharge.
Watch your step.
Alright, we're pulling the disease store and the putrid butcher.
Yes. Feed,
It's too far away.
all of you. Feed on the void. Let its darkness fill you.
Careful with the decaying strike. Make sure you're using a defensive if you're the tank during the decaying strike. Meat shield. Make sure you are interrupting meat shield. Alright. Pulling the gore chop. Pulling the gore chop.
Defensive.
Hateful strike. Hateful strike is your tank buster, and you want to make sure you're using defensive during that cast. Tenderizing smash. Careful with the tenderizing smash. So after the chains come down, the boss is going to suck everybody in and then cast tenderizing smash. You want to be careful with the tenderizing smash and make sure that you are
Watch your feet.
not standing inside the circle.
Run.
Because the boss does actually throw you if you are standing inside the circle.
Scrabbling.
Defensive.
So you want to make sure you are not standing inside that circle. Good note about the chains. After the chains come down and you dodge the first row, there is a second row of chains. The chains that were not part of the first row are part of the second row. So you want to make sure that you dodge both sets of chains and you are not caught in the second row of chains. I do kill the using leftovers in the middle of the map. That is where I try to hold them for our party. Just because I feel like it's easier for the party to deal with the lanes on the outside than it is for them to have a single lane on the inside. So I do choose to kill the leftovers in the middle of the map.
Watch your feet.
But off the world.
Defensive.
You're terrible.
Run.
Be careful with the chains.
I'm out of range.
Defensive.
Great.
It is too far away.
Yes.
4% left on the boss.
All of you.
Run.
Okay, we're going up to the next boss room.
Another trial town! Looks like we might have some real contenders here!
I'm coming. Man, I gotta put speed on my gear. And buy potions of Gus.
Mortal lives are so
Alright.
fleeting.
Pulling the shackled soul guys. So you want to be careful with these shackled soul guys because they are going to try to shackle your souls and keep you here. So if you are shackled, well, ideally you run all the way around the corner. You don't have to worry about it. But if you happen to be shackled, you can interrupt the bind shackle. I just don't recommend stopping and taking the time to interrupt the binding shackle. I think I killed that guy. Because you will be shackled by you'll get extra shackles and you don't want that. Soul Storm, make sure you're using defensive during Soul Storm. Let's see. Miscellaneous deaths. Yeah, you got meleeed. You got meleeed by the Portal Guardian. Bind Souls, make sure that you are interrupting Bind Souls.
Mortals. Scrabbling after any shred of control.
Where's my orb? No, right. bone guys together. Make sure you're interrupting the bone spear cast. So good note, if somebody takes off the bone shield on this pole, just attack the one that they took the shield off of. Because you're kind of like, they're not going to be able to take the shield off with both of them at the same time. And if your single target is really good, by the time you kill the one guy who they did take the shield off of, then they'll be able to take the shield off of the second guy, and you'll be able to turn around and kill the second guy very quickly. Alright, pulling the Portal Guardian. I'm gonna let the Demon Hunter tank that one. Careful with the Necrotic Bolt. Make sure you're interrupting Necrotic Bolt. The Bone Spear guy is going to be your priority interrupt, but as soon as the Bone Spear guy dies, you want to focus down the Necrotic Bolt guy. Make sure you're interrupting the Necrotic Bolt. 45% left on the boss.
Mortals, scrabbling after any shred of control.
21%.
I need a
As
target.
soon as this boss dies, we're going to grab our orb, and we are going to go into the next area. We're going left. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have made sure the healer was here before I pulled this.
Watch your step.
Make sure you're interrupting Spirit Frost. So the reason I feel it's easier to go down the Deathwinds guy than it is to go down the Bone Spear guy is because, one, the Deathwind guy,
Watch
he
your
has better
step.
visuals. You can actually see the fear, and you
Watch
can
your
avoid
step.
the tornadoes, which you have to pull in the next pull anyways. The other guy, he does have more bones on the ground. He casts bones
Watch your
that erupt
step.
out of the ground. And it's hard to tell where or see where the bones are going to come out of the ground. You also have to fight the two Bone Spear guys, and the Bone Spears have to be interrupted. If you miss the Frost cast over there, it's not going to one-shot you. The Bone Spears may one-shot you. So I do feel it's better to interrupt, or to pull the double tornado guys than it is to pull the Bone Spear guys
Watch your
with
step.
the Mega Bone Spear guy. Soul Forged Bone Reaver.
Watch your step.
Deathwinds, be careful of the Deathwinds.
Watch your step.
37% left on the pad.
Mortals,
Spirit
scrabbling
Frost, make
after
sure you're
any
interrupting
shred
Spirit
of
Frost.
control.
Watch your step.
I don't have a target.
Spirit Frost, again, it's not going to one-shot you, but it could one-shot you, so it's better if you interrupt it. My damage was really bad on that pull. That was my bad. I did not use Reaper's Mark. Reaper's Mark this season is one of your primary damages as a Death Knight. You have to make sure that you're using that pretty much off cooldown. You want to use Reaper's Mark, Soul Reaper, Death Strike, Death Strike, Death Strike. Nope. Careful with the frontal. Also, note on this boss, you do not want to stack with your party until you have to stack with your party, because the frontal from this boss actually does... I accidentally put my guy in the wrong spot. Actually will hit your party, and you want to make sure that your party is clear out of the frontal. So what I recommend doing is stacking with your party during the ghost, then running to the other side of the boss so that the frontal is going away from where your party is. Because your party's going to try to get back on the boss as quickly as possible. So as long as you, as the tank, you're running to the opposite end of the boss, you don't have to worry about running into your party with the frontal. Interrupt Necrotic Bolt.
Mortals, scrabbling after any shred
Careful
of
with those
control.
circles on you. Necrotic Bolt again. Again with the stack. So 3 of the ads are just a little bit farther out than the rest. I can pull in 2, but I can't pull in 3. Again, necrotic bolt needs to be interrupted. Watch the frontal from the boss. Now, you will notice we only have 96% right now, which means that we are short percent going into the last boss, but we did skip the first pull. So what we're going to do is we are going to pull the first 3 ads that are upstairs, the ones that we had skipped, before the next boss fight. So the next boss fight's roleplay is 20 seconds, and we're going to use those 20 seconds to kill the ads. Because the ads that we're going to pull are exactly a 30-second pull, which leaves us 10 seconds, like, over, but that's okay. Make sure you're interrupting the necrotic bolt.
Reigning champion the Theater of Pain has ever known.
Our Demon Hunter's gonna take this.
Endless Empress!
Also, make sure that you keep walking after you pull the unyielding contenders.
Scrabbling
As funny as
after
it
any
sounds,
shred of
unyielding
control.
contenders actually smash you if you stay between them. So you want to make sure that you are walking straight through them. You are not walking.
I need a target.
You want to make sure you are walking straight through them and you do not get smashed by them, because they do ram each other and they'll crush you.
Behold my
I forgot to check how long that pull was.
Defensive.
Okay, it was 39 seconds, so it was 9 seconds over what our estimated time was.
Stay away from lines.
But we almost killed the Demon Hunter, so that could be related to the 9 extra seconds.
Run.
Grasping Rift. Do not stand near the Grasping Rift.
Run out. Defensive.
The Grasping Rift is going to grab everybody in the party and try to pull it towards the rift. Pull them towards the rift.
Interrupt.
You want to make sure that you do not
Stay
get
away
pulled
from
into the
lines.
rift and that you are
Scrabbling after any shred of
staying
control.
clear away from that. Hold on.
Defensive.
Alright. Don't know if everybody saw, but the black beam got stuck. When the beam gets stuck, it's just a thing that's been happening this season. Run behind the boss. You don't know if the beam is turning right or left. You do know that the beam is turning a quarter of the way around the boss. It does not turn in a full 360 around the boss, which means that whatever direction it started in, it will never end
Defensive.
up on the back side of the boss. So if you see that beam get stuck, run to the back side of the boss, because it's impossible for the beam to hit the back side of the boss.
Stay away from lines.
It is, however, possible for the beam to turn a quarter of the way, one way or the other. So you always want to make sure you are, if the beam is stuck especially, behind the
Run.
boss. New Grasping Rift.
Run out.
Yes.
Careful with the Grasping Rift. Make sure you are not getting
Defensive.
pulled in.
All of you.
Well, you're going to get pulled in.
Feed
But
on the
don't let
void.
yourself go all the way in.
Let its darkness fill you.
Stay away from
Also, be
lines.
careful with the death bolts from these ads. Remember that the first bolt is always going to be on the person who it was summoned out of.
Next time.
Yes! Moldretha has been defeated! I can